Can you please repeat that for the listeners now that we're recording?
Here at Do the Roses Align, we are hyped to be done with this season. And we're not done yet, but like we're at the precipice. We were on
So
the
close to
finish
getting
line. God. I'm just like I was thinking about it and this happens. So first of all, I feel like in generally most seasons of The Bachelor or Bachelorette, the kind of the fantasy suites is exciting because it's this like idea of like, oh, they're having sex, but
Who
there's
they fucking.
like, yeah, man, who they fucking tonight. But the drama is always the same. It's always someone who's jealous or someone who shows up randomly, kind of like uh, like stuff like that. Like, there's
Yeah.
not usually good drama unless it's kind of drama that's been led up to, or a total anomaly of a season drama, which was like Colton Underwood's, which is Fantasy Suites blew the whole thing up, or
Right.
Hannah Brown's, who had 4 people at Fantasy Suites. Like,
I forgot
that's,
about that.
I know. Don't worry, I am that bank of knowledge.
I actually forgot that she brought 4 people.
Yeah, and then but thankfully, didn't have sex with Luke.
Didn't
And
have sex with 4
then
people, just had sex 4 times.
yes. Well, I think she had sex 5 times because I think she had sex with Jed too.
I'm sure she did.
She
But I think
definitely didn't have sex with Tyler Cameron though. Which, girl, what? She don't worry, she had sex with him later after the show
it's just
was over.
so totally unrelated, but like one of the things that I was thinking about during my live tweet last night is like imagine being all right, so imagine like you're in this situation, you're partaking in the process and it's
Mm,
working. It's
yeah.
working. You are at the week of fantasy suites and you genuinely feel like, "Oh fuck, like I'm in love with this person. Like I didn't know this could happen, but here I am. Like I genuinely could see myself getting married, having babies, all the things that I want with you specifically." And then imagine feeling all of those feelings already. You're already at that stage,
Mm.
supposedly. And that's when you find out that you're not sexually compatible.
Yeah, I mean, that is the good old Christian way.
Wait, did you see the TikTok that I tagged you in that it's like it's not premarital sex if you never get married.
It's just sex. Yeah, literally, like that is
Oh,
Christian way of The Bachelor,
I'm so
which is,
sorry
of
for anyone who's ever
course,
experienced that.
The Bachelor really loves the Christian shit, and so
So much, so
so they
fucking
love
much.
to make them all fall in love and profess their love before they go and canoodle in bed, because it must be love, I love you, before the sex. Even though in God early days at Bachelor, they didn't even say I love you. They barely even said I'm falling in love with you on the earlier shows. They barely even wanted to kiss on the fucking early seasons of on this show. So it's
Ben
wild
Higgins
how
was
far we've come.
revolutionary.
He
Ben
was. I mean, Ben
Higgins
Higgins.
changed the game.
Yeah, I mean,
Legitimately.
you drop a I love you to both contestants, both of your 2 women at the end. That it does change the emotional trauma.
Agreed. But
Well,
okay,
anyway,
real
so
quick.
but anyway, we're not even there yet. So that being said, nothing is that exciting for this
Facts.
season because we generally, even if you okay, what's funny is before like all of statement palooza happened, where it was like every Matt, Bachelor producers, Rachael, like everyone is releasing their
Yeah.
statements, right? Rachel Kirkconnell, not Lindsay. uh it was like, oh my god, did I just lose my fucking train of thought? Statement palooza was happening. I'm trying to remember where to
This was like just a
go.
very mild week
ADHD.
outside of the show, and then also a mild week within the show.
Oh yeah.
Because like
But
we had Statement Palooza, but like we're still like soaking in all the aftermath of like the exciting things. Exciting, not necessarily meaning good, just like
yeah.
exciting things that have been
Oh
happening within the franchise that like
yeah.
now it's kind of just like, oh,
Yeah,
huh.
exactly. Well, and also, okay, I remember what I was going to say. So before we had all those statements, there were even spoilers out about the season. And so some people were spoiled, I'm sure, prior to that. But if you weren't spoiled before Statement Palooza, it's like you kind of get it. We kind of
I'll see what's happening.
see what's happening, who's making it. Like when, when Michelle got the first rose, I was like, well, shit, there goes Brie. Maybe I'll just pull it up really quickly while we talk. But I just like love Matt and Michelle's charts together.
They're
I think they're
cute as
great. Yeah.
fuck.
I think they're very
I
cute,
think
and they seem genuinely like happy around each other, enjoy each other's company. I think that she makes him feel good. But also it's hard to tell because Matt acts the same with everyone.
well, okay.
Which
We'll have to
yeah.
talk about that. But before we
Mhm.
even get into the episode, so there are two
Yeah.
things. So one, it is now, this is me sharing this with you for the first time. It is
Oh, yeah.
now my goal
Okay.
on Twitter to get blocked by Reality Steve without being outright mean to him.
Good.
I
Cool.
want to make
Mint that.
him look and feel so foolish that he eventually has to be like, this bitch is annoying, go away, without like being hateful. And I think I'm doing okay. I got two
Okay.
pretty popular shots in last night.
Good.
Popular for me with my 12 followers means that I have like 9 likes, which is quite a ratio.
Ooh,
But
beautiful.
But the other thing, so you just posted on the story about
Astral Cartography.
do you see that retention? Do you see how I remembered what it was called? Is that not impressive?
Beautiful. So proud.
So we were talking last night after the episode for a little bit about astral cartography. And I started looking at my own chart and the map that comes up from my chart. And we noticed that I have a line that runs pretty much straight through La Quinta, straight through Indio Valley, like straight through Coachella Valley, straight through La Quinta, straight through Palm Springs.
Like a stone's throw from La Quinta.
Literally, like I could, wherever I'm supposed to be on the line, I could like nudge La Quinta with my elbow.
I mean, I'm sure La Quinta, like the property probably spans like
Far
almost to the
enough.
edge of it. Yeah. Like where La Quinta was written on the map, you could, yeah. Oh,
yes. But
100%.
today I found out, this is unrelated to The Bachelor, but just like tying it into the astral cartography, because this is something that I find really funny. I found out today that not only does a Taco Bell resort exist in Palm Springs, but my line actually goes through the Taco Bell resort that exists in Palm Springs.
Look, honestly, meant to be.
The desert and the desert and Taco Bell are like
Bell.
2 of my favorite things. So okay, I have a feeling I need to go out there.
I'm so glad that we can bond over Taco Bell being great because I fucking love Taco Bell. I love it so much. And I am glad you as a chef also can be into it because people tell me all the time, you're a chef. Why would you like that? It's not real Mexican food. I'm like, I'm not.
No one's eating it for it to be real Mexican food.
Why am I looking for real Mexican food for Taco Bell? Like at Taco Bell, I'm not. I like real Mexican. I love real Mexican food.
No one goes to Taco Bell expecting
Taco Bell is
Mexican.
not in that category. It is its own beast. It's delicious.
It's flavorful fast food. It is flavorful fast food.
It is. And it's also fast food that if you're gonna go get fast food, like go to Taco Bell. Fucking beans, much better. Beans and rice in a burrito form is much better for you than a fucking Big Mac any day of the week.
Almost every so I grew
nacho
up
fries. Oh,
that
was like a revelation.
Fries, actually.
Okay. Highly recommend. They're good texture and it's really fun dipping it in the like cheese sauce that you use for the nachos is like wow.
All right. Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, like, most people that I went to high school with, so we've talked about the fact that I went to like a super culturally diverse high school, and a good amount of the people that went to my high school were vegetarian, and Taco Bell used to be like the place. Like we would like on like a Friday night after a football game, people would go to Taco Bell. Taco Bell was the spot because you could get more for everybody. Like there are more options for like different diets at Taco Bell than there are at other, like what do you get vegetarian at McDonald's other than their shitty side salad and fries?
Yeah, you can literally get gluten-free at Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Corn
Taco
fucking
Bell
tortillas. Hello.
Top notch.
Yeah. And it's funny too because high school, yeah, like I it's only gotten better since then. And
Agreed.
now it's God.
Doritos Locos Tacos? What? I would have killed for that
Ah,
shit in high school.
Dor-
Anyway, highly
Doritos Locos
recommend.
Tacos. Wow.
No free brand deals or anything like that, but I guess. But
Whatever, we love
Google
you, Taco Bell.
Google the Bell. It's called the Bell at Palm Springs, a Taco Bell resort.
Oh, yeah. No, I've heard of this, and don't worry,
I
we should go visit.
anyway, okay. So
Oh, I guess we could muse for a moment on what we were discussing about how Matt James and Tyler Cameron aren't producing a lot of like bro
no.
content together.
Are they
Like,
good? Are the girls fighting?
are our boyfriends okay? Because like, and I say our boyfriends in the fact of like our boyfriends, they are boyfriends and we just are, they're ours. Like not ours like romantically, they're just like our
We
little
are
boyfriend
adjacent to
pair.
their bromance.
Yeah,
So
like
we are
they're
claiming ownership over their friendship.
yeah, they're boyfriends, and I think they're broken up right now, maybe, or at least bother. I don't know,
Or
but they were like
something.
Matt was.
Something's tense.
He definitely like he commented on one of Tyler Cameron's recent Instagram posts. So I know they're not like ghosted each other. Like it's not like they're not doing something, but they're
They haven't
definitely
unfollowed
not.
each other.
Yeah, right.
Not
Oh,
there yet.
yeah, right. Well, the season's but it just seems like something is like they're just like not.
Something's not kosher.
But
Something's
who knows?
fishy.
Maybe they're just not together right now in the same place, and all Matt can really muster is turtle emojis on a turtleneck photo of Tyler. I mean, but it was a good it was a cute little shout out though, right? To the turtlenecking
It was
of
cute.
Matt.
I we were talking last night about the fact that yes, if everyone recording this on Tuesday, the episode aired last night. We
Yes.
spoke last night about like Matt's Instagram presence as of late. And like I don't know what Matt was like before because we really only got Matt through the lens of Tyler Cameron.
Exactly.
But judging by the lens of Tyler Cameron, like in which we saw Matt's style in general seems to be changing quite drastically.
I think, and this is giving Matt
Tell me.
an ounce, like lots of credit, right? Lots of credit because Matt is definitely. I remember. I mean, we were all there. I was shading on Matt, little party boy. I
Taylor
think
pants.
this whole process of being on the show, being in the post-show quiet space life where you have to kind of hide whatever you're doing, and now in the racism scandals with Rachael O'Connell and Chris Harrison, Rachel Lynch, like all that. I think this experience is radicalizing him more than he was, like a little bit. I know that this is like giving a lot of credit. And I'm not saying he's not still probably in that like, oh, I'm an independent, but it's just I just feel like he's getting angrier. Like
I know that you saw his commentary on the Harry Meghan Oprah interview.
He was watching like the fact
sorry, I'm gonna read
but the fact that he was watching yes, Meghan, Oprah, and Harry, Meghan Markle, Hagen. Yeah. Yeah.
Harry's name first.
I was the fact that he was watching this was wild. I mean, I know that's like a world, like it was very much a global, like it was a big thing to watch and it was everywhere to talk about.
It was
and
like the
quotes
most viewed interview like of all time or
yeah,
something like that.
And the quotes were everywhere. So it's like impossible to avoid even if you didn't watch it. But no matter what, he was quoting the interview multiple times on his Twitter. Like, and
yeah.
I sent it to you. But my friend Val sent me a screenshot of Matt's Twitter that was the quote, were you silent or were you silenced? And he was like, da da da, like he just said and I'm just like, and someone quote tweeted, it was literally like the screenshot I sent you had the quote tweet that said
Ash Talks Batch on Twitter. I follow her. She's great.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how, because you sent it and I was like, oh my God, I know. I guess.
That's so great. But she was just like, not me overthinking this tweet because like I'm ready for Matt to #break his silence. Give it to me. After the final rose better be fucking juicy or I'm going to be bothered. Like, I'm going
I
to say it. If it's
so
not worthless.
All right, I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm like trying to think about my words.
No, it's fine. I'm trailing
I'm
off.
not like anticipating being disappointed because we're excited. We have Emmanuel Acho.
Right.
There's so much room for this to be like so fucking awesome and so great and also so entertaining. Like this
Right.
could be like a wonderful episode to watch for a multitude of different reasons. But it's still being put on by fucking ABC, which means that my expectations are like, while on paper, I hate when people say this, but like on paper, like it looks like it'll be so good. And I say it all the time, but
You're right.
like it on paper,
We
it seems like
are,
it's so good. And then you think about the fact that it's fucking ABC and ABC has done nothing but display like ABC has been called out for like being racist, being fucked up for all these reasons. And then instead of like doing anything legitimate to dispute the claims, they've kind of doubled down unintentionally and been like, no, we're not. We're worse. Like it's been so bizarre
we're
how they
worse.
handled it. Like I don't know who their PR person, I don't know what's going on at ABC, but like someone in the office is fucking up. Like something is like not
Mm,
translating.
yeah.
And I'm
And
happy. I'd rather see what
the other
like
thing
the
too
train wreck,
that
but
is I feel like this conversation with Emmanuel Acho will be so good, but it will still be under this
be tainted.
structure of ABC,
Right.
of Disney ultimately, right? Because the bigger companies, but
Yeah.
but ABC is going to still structure this conversation in such a way. They're still going to edit this conversation in such a way, and I feel like maybe maybe crossing my fingers, maybe Emmanuel will have a like follow up with like maybe just Rachael or just Matt, like on his channel, because that's where I'm like, the real conversation could be had on his channel, like on Emmanuel's channel, being able to see like his what he would edit and show of what he deems important, but
I
with
agree with you.
ABC deeming something important of, but it could definitely just be, I just feel like they're definitely still going to find a way to push the message that like, I firmly
It'll
believe
be like
Rachael is
subtle.
different, but if they do any kind of pushing the message of like, we all can learn and everyone is okay, and don't forget like that subtle like, and Chris Harrison is fine too, like that kind of shit is gonna be upsetting. It's like, like
Yeah. I'm
but
curious to
we'll
see
see.
who because
Oh
we know that he has his own show, like he has his own platform in which he can publish whatever he wants. But I'm actually really curious to see what outlets interview him, Emmanuel. Like I'm curious to see if he
yes,
does like the Good Morning America after the fact. Like, so like tell us about your experience. This
yeah,
franchise has been so because when you think about the fact that Chris Harrison's job, no one really knows what goes into Chris Harrison's job except for Chris Harrison because no one else has done it since its inception.
yeah,
So this is like an insider coming in and like seeing the inner workings of something that nobody else has ever had access to.
it's
Even if it's
like,
not juicy, like it is a perspective that
well, and
people are
it's
going
funny because it's like even the times that someone else hosts something in the Bachelor world, i.e., thinking like, obviously JoJo who stepped in for Chris last season,
yeah.
but then I think about like Ben and Becca who hosted the like stage show Bachelor thing for 5 minutes before COVID happened, and that kind of stuff. So it's almost just like he really is a true outsider in this scenario. But it does seem like
Exactly.
he knew people, like he might have known Rachael or Brian or someone before this. Like it seems like there was definitely like some kind of
Connection. Yeah.
yeah,
Like a
exactly.
foot in the door somewhere.
Right, like not jarring, but something. Mm.
Imagine if literally it was just an intern who like Googled the right thing. Imagine like some intern
Right?
was just like
Just
dicking
like,
around on
oh
YouTube.
yeah, what about this guy? And they're like, oh yeah, uncomfortable. Okay, cool. We could do
And
that.
then it
Like, I
just so
like the word
happened that
uncomfortable. That
everybody
makes
was
good TV.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I can see that being the case though. It's like not to throw shade, but like Becca not knowing about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Like someone can be a prominent public figure
Yeah.
and someone else who's also like educated or should know better could be like, oh yeah, like they might not have even like realized his because I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I have such low expectations for them that I assume that they're just like the most ignorant, worst people ever. Sorry if you work for them, but
No,
prove me wrong.
I agree. I agree. I agree. Well, anyway, I just realized that I should look up Emmanuel Acho's birthday.
Yeah. Wait, I
And
haven't
I
done
did,
that.
and he's a
Oh, you
Scorpio.
did. Genius.
Yeah, he's a Scorpio, November 10th. I'm going to run his full chart because I do have, since he was a football player, I mean, mwah, bless up, I know where he's from. And
Interesting.
oh, Jess,
Interesting. Oh,
just guess where he's from.
is he from Missouri?
He's
Is
from
he from Texas?
Dallas.
I was gonna say Texas. I was like, it's one of the two. I was like, you're
He's
either telling
from
me because we have
Dallas.
a personal connection, or if it's like a common bachelor thing.
No,
And I'm like,
no, I'm just thinking connected to the fact that the Instagram story I posted
everybody
today,
comes
like
to fucking
Dallas. All right. But yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna run his chart. But in the meantime, wait, because I have to delete. Oh my god. I literally have too many charts on my astro.com. Oopsie. So yeah, I'm just deleting a bunch of shit. But anyway, other than that, yeah, it was a quiet week. And I'm glad for that. I want everyone to shut up for a minute.
Me too.
It's just necessary after a while. Like we don't.
I'm happy to not have seen Taylor on my Instagram. I'm happy that someone's actually like taking
Yes.
time off of like literally off
Very
of social
nice.
media.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because of everything that's been going on, but just because like that's good for anybody.
Literally, like we all need to be better about just doing that. Like we all don't need, first of all, there is life away from online, and there is a place like
Okay.
people have your phone number. But anyway, okay, so would you like to, wow, so, and we're back in. Would you like to hear that I just looked up Emmanuel Acho's chart, and I actually believe that he is going to maybe actually have this good conversation. He's a Scorpio sun and a Virgo moon. He's literally about to be like, I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to find these details. We are going to flesh it out. We're going to talk it out. He's got Mercury Scorpio, Venus Scorpio, Sun, and obviously Scorpio Pluto because he is a millennial. So he is like super Scorpio, ready to get in. And then Virgo moon. But what I think is really interesting, he has a Jupiter Leo. And that to me, the show, the Bachelor,
Yeah.
the Bachelor show's chart has Leo midheaven, which is again the host, like that physical forward space. Hence, Chris Harrison, the Leo sun, is the host of the show and is on the midheaven, and he is the public face, or is a public face of the show. I'm also pretty sure the first Bachelor was also a Leo.
Yeah, I
So
think we
back
talked about that.
Yeah, right. So that being said, midheaven is very much that public persona. So he has Jupiter and Leo. He's gonna have that Jupiter on the show's midheaven. And it's kind of like he's this benevolent. Literally, Jupiter is a benefic, the greater benefic. It's the largest planet, and it's like essentially it's the planet of good luck, of fortune, of wealth,
Yeah.
of knowledge, of wisdom, and all this stuff. So putting that Jupiter on the show's midheaven is literally like, all right, I'm gonna come in to make. I think that he's going to make the show look good, attempt to make the show look good still, but still within his own, like, I'm gonna figure this shit out, because I think he still is going to have to perform a little bit, Jupiter Leo. But also at the same time, it's probably this is a good choice for the show to put this in there.
I'm
Anyway,
into it. That's
yeah.
okay. That raises my hopes a little. I just so now I'm less concerned about the conversation being had and primarily concerned with how it'll be edited.
Yes, because I think
Interesting.
he's for sure will have good conversation, plenty of good stuff. But the show
Still
will
in the
make
driving
him look.
seat.
They're gonna make him be the guy that make them look good. Jupiter Leo on the midheaven and on the moon. So, but the other thing too is that the show has a Scorpio rising, so all his Scorpio placements are falling right. Like he's coming there to expose the actual identity of the show, rising sign, which hopefully happens.
Can you imagine?
Mm.
My imagination is just like running away with me. You've awakened something in me. Can
Right?
you imagine the timeline that exists in which the show receives such backlash from whatever he uncovers, like it's so bad and they receive so much backlash that like cease filming of the Bachelorette show was canceled immediately, never to return. Can you imagine?
I think that the world would literally have a cultural reset.
What would happen? That can't happen because the country would crumble.
Well, I mean, again, I firmly believe. I mean, I'm just broken record at this point. This show
It'll
is a
outlive us all.
sport. This show is a sport, and the sooner that people realize that, the more likely the show will stay on the air. Like, because the longer people hold up this stupid idea that this show is meant to bring people in love and have a fair and nice dating game, that people like, no. If you don't somewhat believe that this show is a game and not scripted, the people who are like, oh, it's all fake and planned, it's scripted, la la la, that's not right either. Like it is not scripted, and it's literally said over and over. People say it over and over that it's not scripted. It's just that they pull you out and they say, okay, talk about this. They tell you what to talk
It's
about, but that doesn't make it
heavily
scripted.
manipulated.
Yeah,
And that's
like
what people don't seem to. Now that we're saying this, I'm actually not terribly shocked because this goes to our conversation about Rachael last night, in the sense that like Rachael was indeed saying all of the things that she said, but like was she coming from a place of manipulation? Yes. Manipulated doesn't mean totally fake, but it's definitely not authentic. And like it's
yeah,
this middle ground, and that's where like this show lives. This show lives in a gray area.
yep. But anyway, I think that
Let's talk about it.
let's hope that it gets well. Yeah, let's talk about the show, the episode. But honestly, I'm ready to kind of blow through it. I mean, fantasy suites are just
I can't
boring.
imagine we we won't do this, guys, because we like love what we do and we work very hard, but in theory we could just have like one short conversation and copy and paste it 3 times and it will encompass the fucking show.
Well, Matt did. Matt copy and pasted his own conversation, so why shouldn't we?
Literally like calling back Queen Victoria, literally the same
literally the same, literally 3 times over. I mean,
special,
I get it.
Literally so not unique.
And look, I really get it. I understand that you want to talk to all of the women about your father, but it might as well. It's like, okay, you know what it was? It's like the first conversation happened, and then the other Matts in his brain were like, oh, copy paste, but we can't make it the exact same, so let's switch up a few words. It's plagiarism, but not, where it's like, oh, I'm pulling from the textbook, but I'm gonna like reorder the sentence and like put a different adjective in and whatever, but it's literally the same thing. Yeah, that's what Matt did during every conversation about his dad with the women.
Have you ever been like talking to one of your friends, not in a group chat, like just you and one of your friends, and you say something that's just really fucking funny? Have you ever copy and pasted the message into another thread? Because I have.
Yeah.
But I usually tell them. It's usually like the same 3 people, and I'll preface it by saying like, I just sent this to like Megan, so now I have to send it to you, or like I just sent this to Kelsey, so you have to see it too. So like they know. I don't like actively try to push it off as like,
right.
I just thought of this, like, oh my God, like so funny, such like an organic, candid moment. But I get it. Like you're saying, like, I understand where he's coming from, where like he wants to, you want to share it. You know what I mean? Like you've built these relationships with 3 women, but at the same time, like not every dynamic should be the same. So the conversations can have like the same content, but like not be the same.
Well, what it really was is, and this is also, I don't really feel bad about talking about this broadly because all the dates were just whatever. I think it's interesting that he has the same conversation, but it is led into the same way. Like he uses the women, whatever the women said about whatever they were thinking, about whatever they're feeling, about anything about their relationship. It doesn't even matter. He found a way to at the same moment, it was like the show either edited this, like I feel like the show may have done him dirty in the fact that they probably
No, because I could
edited
do
this.
that. If you say
Yeah.
anyone can say three things to me, and if I
No.
have something on my mind, I can totally walk it
Yes,
back to where I
I
want to
agree.
be.
But it was just like the cadence of each
But I get what you're
conversation
saying.
was the same. Like
Yeah.
obviously the women weren't saying identical things because they were different people, but they would say something, we'll get to it. Well, they'll say something and then Matt would be like, yeah. So, and they'll be like, and so I'm just wondering how you're feeling, Matt. And he'd be like, yeah, so it's actually cool that you said this and this and this because I also been wondering about getting hurt. And it's also that hurt stem from my dad. And then this is my dad's conversation. He came
I
here.
just thought of a really funny
We
joke.
had to have that talk. Go ahead.
This whole episode was basically Matt-Libs.
Beautiful title. Magic.
And it was the same thing, and the women were just like filling in the blanks.
Mm. Wow. That's
Sorry,
so funny.
I
No,
was a
that's
really
perfect.
terrible moment where you're like, oh my god, I just thought of such a funny joke. I would copy and paste that joke into multiple threads, ladies and gentlemen.
I absolutely. Yes. Yeah, like right. Catch me tweeting it, catch me putting on a story. Matt-Libs. Yeah.
So I get where you're coming from, Matt. Case
Well,
in
I
point.
do too. And it's funny because I feel like it's very fire sign, right? Like fire signs in general love to, literally no fire sign. Leos get all the flack for this. Okay. Y'all look at the
I don't
flack for this, but all fire signs are this way. All fire signs love attention. And there is no fire sign that wouldn't say something that they know hits to a new group of people that know that hasn't heard it because it's like, I want them to laugh at what I'm saying right now. I want them to think I'm interesting or funny. And it doesn't even have to be the same joke. Like with Matt, same story,
Yeah.
same joke, same story, same phrase,
It's
same.
like, why do you do it, Gaga? I love the
Yeah.
applause.
And it's funny because so in astrology, that idea sounds very fixed, right? Like fixed sign, like it's something that I'm doing it the
Yeah.
same thing over and over. However, my argument is that it's actually very mutable because you are able to blend yourself, whatever narrative, story, jokes you have into everything else, like into anybody else around you. And
I am
it's
a
funny because
parasite.
have the Gemini rising, right? And so you have the mutability, but I'm thinking about it in the context of Matt with his
Yeah.
endless Sag placements, like all his Sagittarius shit. So it's just funny to me to think about how, yeah, he is mutable and he can fit all this, like he can fit what he wants into any conversation, into the flow to make the other person think that it was like totally fine.
For them.
However, the rising sign, I'm still, wow,
Well, that's why Rachael felt she was so special. That's like the perfect
yeah.
full circle
Oh,
because I said it to you last night. I'll say it again now. We're running a theme here today. But it must have felt we saw Rachael have this whole conversation with her parents during during hometowns about how like I'm different, I'm special, and like sure he might like her more than the other women, but we are getting a very clear display that she's not really so special because he's recreating these moments with other women. And in fact, she was the last one to get them. So they weren't even like original for her.
right? Like if
She must
anything,
feel
the
foolish as fuck.
originality, yeah, if anything, the originality was Michelle.
Well, yeah, I mean, he did his first showing and then he did his matinee, and by the time he does his Rachael performance, he's got it like seasoned
Pro,
and down to an art. Yeah, it's
pro,
rehearsed and it's beautiful.
yeah. But anyway, well, we'll talk more about that when we
Get
to
there.
each date. Yeah. So obviously first up is we have all the women are doing their dramatic talk during B-roll. It's
I
all
hate
just boring.
B-roll.
It's all the same stuff and then I think it's interesting, and I've heard, yeah, me. So do you think it's interesting
Yeah.
also that
I'm in.
these are now only the women call them fantasy suites, but Chris and like Matt and all that call them overnights. And I'm just like, when did ew, Lisa just sneezed on me. But when did we shift from fantasy suite to overnight?
I can't. I most definitely cannot cite like a specific instance. I know what you're talking about. I
Yeah.
don't know like when it
It's
started
recent.
per se.
Recent.
Yeah, for sure. But it seems like, and this is one of the beefs that I had with Reality Steve last night, is that I seem like there have been this like overtly sexual implication of like what fantasy suite means, and like we assume that they're fucking like whatever it is, but a lot of contestants have come forward and said like actually like no one really fucks in the fantasy suite. We're really talking about like how many kids do you want, where do you want to live, like what will we
Yeah.
do if one of us gets a crippling illness, like you know what I mean? Like there's been a
Yeah.
lot of like off contract conversation about like not sanctioned by the show, but a lot of like
Right.
off contract conversation by past players that have been like actually like they're not really like, sure it's sexy because like we're alone, but like it's not really like sexy time. So I think that if the show were to continue being like, I think they have enough awareness to be like, if we continue to call them fantasy dates and imply this shit, like we're just gonna keep looking stupid when people come out and say like no
Yeah.
one's having sex. And then if they're having sex in like windmills and on casual dates anyway, then like what the fuck does it matter?
It literally
Which I'll
doesn't.
never know how that's possible. That will be a
It's
great
just
mystery of this show to me. I don't know how the fuck that happened.
well, it's just producers let it. It was just something that
Right,
people let
it had to have
happened.
been.
You know, it was let someone let it happen.
Yeah, you didn't get away with
But
shit.
whatever, we digress.
Yes,
So
sorry.
instead, but now they're, but I get it makes sense. Yeah, but it's just like overnight doesn't have like fantasy
It's
suite.
not the same.
It's just, it doesn't feel the same. And I think, and
I
I
agree.
understand, I really understand, like, but overnight, like the context is still there. The context of fucking is still there because whether or not they call it fantasy suite or overnight or not. So
Well, I think that's
keep
what
the original.
I think that's like what the move is. It's like if we don't call it fantasy, it's like the lawyer loophole. It's like, well, we're not saying fantasy suites. Like we're not like saying, but like we can light the candles and like if that's the
Yep.
vibe you pick up, then that's what you picked up. But like we didn't say that kind of deal. And that
Right.
seems like it tracks with ABC's whole shtick.
Yeah. Well, anyway, first up, before all the dates, is Matt's conversation with his father. And
Did you
it
enjoy a
is,
single second of this in any way?
no, it felt stressful. And the narrative felt weird. Like, I am not gonna shame Matt for like needing to talk out things like this or whatever before having a relationship with someone and la la la. But it really, I mean, being on The Bachelor and having this conversation on The Bachelor, it bothers me that the show did this. Like, I just don't. It just feels icky because it doesn't feel like it's from the right.
Did you clock the
Mm,
moment where they said that they've had this conversation before?
oh, yeah. And
So that means that
did
they
you?
were putting it on for this was for
Yeah.
no
And
one's
also,
benefit but the viewers. And I, as a viewer, genuinely felt like I was eavesdropping on something. I felt like I was invading in something. Like I
yep,
should not have been there for that
yep,
conversation. It's like when your friend's parent gets mad at them and you're like, I probably shouldn't be here right now. That's how I felt.
yeah.
I felt very uncomfortable watching that because I'm like, I don't, and not only that, but like
It's like
I
this
get,
isn't necessary.
given the fact that we were shown nothing of Matt's personality, you are trying to make me believe that I need to know this about him to understand him enough for this show. But like, I don't understand how we got none of Matt. We don't know anything of Matt except for like a few small instances on his season of The Bachelor. But like, this is the moment where we're intended to get to know him the best.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah, like
like that.
finally by the end, and also with this trauma porn that we have to watch, like it's
Like, how is this what we needed to understand where he's coming from in his search to find love? Why is that like it just
yeah.
I
Well,
don't
and
care.
also, so did
It
you
was
also
bad.
notice the moment that you could sense when his dad was like, wait a minute, like that click of the moment of like, whoa, 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 wait a minute, I'm on this show to try to
Why am I
I'm trying
here?
to congratulate you, I'm trying to like celebrate you and your new romance. It it was the clearest as day to me that he was brought on the show under falser pretenses, and then this happened. And not to say like not to say that his cheating wasn't bad or they shouldn't have had this conversation, but again, the
Good's not as
ickiness to me,
advertised. Like, you
yeah, it
can tell
came
that
from the
he was
show
blindsided.
because he was straight up like, there was that moment, right, where he was just like, he was like, oh my god. Well, first of all, the drama the trauma, I mean, that his father brought up too, of being like, well, why did you need a like basically like why did you need a dad? My dad died when I was 5. Was
That's what
killed
I'm
when
saying.
I was
Like,
5.
I
Was
didn't
killed.
need
And he's from
this. Felt like
Africa.
none of my business. This felt like
His
none of my business.
But also, I will say this. I will say, okay, so there's lots to get to know about Matt, whatever. But I will say the one thing about this that did make me think, make me understand more about Matt is his father is African, like
Yeah.
not just, Black African American. No, he's African, lives in America, like, and it's just the context of it to me is very interesting because that kind of culture with African men and the way that they raise their men is struggleful. Not a judge. It's just like the way that they're this culture of I can't even talk about it, but because I'm white.
I know what you mean. It's just
But yeah,
I feel like
the
if I were to go on this
like
show,
very because he was literally like my dad died, like fuck your feelings. In the beginning it was
very
kind of
blunt,
jarring,
very
but then he was
cold.
like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry I did
My
this to you.
nana is like that.
Yeah, I mean the very like hardcore like African people just don't take shit, right? And so like that, and that's my experience of having met like like met African people and their families. Oh my god, or oh god, never mind, tangent. But anyway, it's just interesting to way he was started off, and then by the end it was like that middle point of like, wait, I was supposed to here to be celebrate you, buddy. Like
Well, it's like
I'm I'm bummed. And then
plenty of
Matt
people have
also
had estranged parents on this show. Plenty of
so
leads have
many.
had like family trauma. Plenty of leads have had childhood shit. Like, not once has any other leads, like, nothing that would have been discussed in fucking therapy has been brought to the attention of the viewer for any other lead. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
why I back to my original point, and like, yeah, you get how I feel about this, but like, I just don't understand why this was something that was deemed necessary when nothing else seemed to be necessary. They
Well,
didn't feel like we needed to know anything else about him
right.
this whole fucking
And it's
time.
interesting because again, I feel like I did like I did learn things about him, but it's again within this frame of this dramatic conversation and the lens that ABC wanted to portray. Because again, Matt's kind of like angle here was my mom is so strong. I love my mom for doing like for leaving you. Like she should have left you alone. Like that, all these things that he was
Yeah.
saying. And I was just like, damn, they're really up in her. The white mom saved these black boys, right? That's just how I was feeling watching it. It was very weird. And the dad was like, well, yeah, like my cheating was, I know I shouldn't have cheated. Oh God, it was just fast. It was wild. But what I thought about, what I did think was interesting to see though was Matt. This was like the most like human I've seen Matt, because he was just like, I mean, yeah, when you're having your father like saying this shit to you, oh my God. When I felt this so hard when his dad was like, hang on, where is it in my notes? I want to get the right quote. It goes, I'm sorry I hurt you, son. And Matt just goes, okay. Someone with a very complicated relationship with her family and parent figure, that moment hit. I was like, yep, I feel that. Okay. Mm.
Yeah, I mean,
It was just tough. Again, yeah, I didn't need to see
at
it.
the
I didn't
risk
need to
of
see
sounding like
this.
a broken record, like, it just reiterates what I said, like, that this was totally,
Yeah.
you can sit there and you can bond with someone that you're in a relationship with, right? Like, when you and Olivia started dating, was the first thing that you said, were you describing like childhood experiences with you and your mom? No, you can like convey that you had, and as you build a
Yeah.
relationship, like, you learn more about it, but like, we don't need to know Matt like that. That's really personal shit that like those women can know about him. But
Yeah.
I, as a stranger to that man, do not need to know about his family dysfunction. You
Yep.
don't like. I don't need to know the details. That's
And if you had the
irrelevant.
conversation before, then
Why you?
you don't
I
need to
don't
have
need
it
to.
on
Yeah.
TV
I
to
just.
build Matt's narrative. Like it's fine. We can know that he said, like he could have just brought it up on the dates, like, yep, and before I got here I had this conversation with my dad, blah 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 blah, there it is. Like, so whatever, but we have this very uncomfortable conversation and I don't even want to, it was just really stressful. Like all my
I
notes
think
I'm
that
just
that's
looking
the
at and I'm like,
popular that's the popular opinion. The
yeah,
general consensus based on what I've seen is that a lot of people feel the way that we feel,
yeah,
and that it was like exploited, like they were exploiting the situation and it was very unnecessary. And even Matt tweeting last night, Matt tweeted while he was watching it that like it's really hard to relive this. And you feel bad because like he
yeah.
wasn't.
Not many people have arguments with their parents videoed and put on national television.
Yeah, I just you feel for him because I think that, well, obviously it takes two to have a conversation. He was partaking in the conversation,
Right.
but at the
Well, yeah.
same time, like there's no way that.
But when you're a kid talking to your parent, no matter how old you are, there's that
No, no,
level
no.
of
I was
like,
gonna
well,
say, like, I don't think that he would have had that conversation on camera of his own
oh,
volition.
well,
Like,
right. Yeah.
like clearly that conversation needed to be had before or after this, but like I don't think that he intended to from the
Yeah.
jump have that documented the way that it was.
Yeah. But if anything, this to me really showed Matt's chart like deeply to me. So, if our stalking is correct, we from what we were looking at, I'm pretty sure Matt's dad is a Virgo. And it's interesting because Matt has a Virgo Jupiter. And that Virgo Jupiter is the ruling planet of all of his Sagittarius placements. Like, because Sagittarius is, ruled by Jupiter.
Yeah.
So all of his Sagittarius placements answer to this Virgo Jupiter. Hence why in this conversation, his dad was saying things like, I don't expect, like, I'm not perfect and I can't, or like, I can't expect, you can't be perfect or whatever. Not even you, Matt. No one's perfect. Like all this perfect stuff comes up a lot. And that's like the Virgo word, right? So it's really interesting that that's the case. And then also, the Sagittarius moon was on display. Like there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that he's a Sagittarius moon now because of this, because like when it comes to daddy issues, on deck. I mean, and generally like an absent parent, Sagittarius. Wow. Olivia's phone just started playing on the Alexa out of nowhere.
It was like dance break.
Yeah, right. But anyway, Sagittarius moon is like a very common to have this like parent that is not, and it doesn't always have to be absent physically, like full single parent, but like absent, like travels all the time, like isn't
Yeah,
just
just like
gone
not
for
getting the
work.
shit you need.
Yeah. So, and Virgo, I'm sorry, but especially Virgo men. It's funny, no men listen to our podcast, apparently, thanks to our
Not a single
analytics.
one.
Which,
Hi.
oh my God, ladies and femmes and non binary people that aren't qualified as men in these algorithms. But
We're
literally
happy to
anybody.
have you.
Yeah, seriously. But anyway, because of that, Virgo men, hey, if you know a Virgo man, they probably
Send
have
this to
daddy.
them.
They probably have daddy issues. Like all of them. Every Virgo man I've ever known has some kind of daddy
Every
problem.
Virgo women I know, or every Virgo
Oh,
woman I know
well,
has daddy
Virgos,
issues.
the mutability is tough. But what is interesting about this is that Matt again says what every Virgo man I've heard say is, I'm not the man that my dad is, and I'm just because I'm his son doesn't mean I have to follow in his footsteps. Basically doing this, he's like, I want to be better than my dad. It's like almost like a competition to be better. And then at the same
Yeah.
time, you end up doing something wrong anyway, because we all fuck up our kids. So anyway, don't have kids. Also, there's
No
a
one's
climate
perfect parent.
crisis.
Nope.
Anyway, whatever. I'm tired of this. Let's talk about Michelle's date, which was a
What do you want to talk
Pennsylvania
about her
spa.
date? Let's not. Okay, before
So
before we get started,
why?
I'm not going to give it that kind of credit. I'm not going to
That's
call
what I
that
wanted
a
to talk about.
Pennsylvania
Like,
Dutch experience.
why was the food thing a Pennsylvania spa date?
I think that it was like a caricature of what someone thinks a Dutch Pennsylvania spa date would be.
I guess.
I don't
But,
believe that I'm going to Google Dutch Pennsylvania butter massage.
perfect. Get Siri involved.
Yeah, and the first three things are Bachelor articles.
Good.
Show details. I don't fucking care. Show the details. That's not it. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that that's a thing. I don't know. I've lived relatively close. I've been to that area of Pennsylvania before. Like we have like a mountain house out there. Like I've been, and I've never heard of this. I've never seen this. I've never I don't believe that this is a thing. I think that they sat there and said like, well, what is like what is Pennsylvania Dutch? And they thought about like churning butter and shit. Cuz those were like sticks of butter. That wasn't even
Butter.
fucking that's what I'm
That
saying.
was
Like
butter they bought at the grocery store. It
right. So like
was it was sticks. That
yeah.
shit was Breakstone butter. Not even Breakstone. It was fucking probably Safeway. Whatever. What grocery store is in the middle of nowhere
I don't
in
fucking know. Probably
Pennsylvania?
Aldi's or something.
Yeah. But
Sorry, I'm googling this.
no, you're good. But either way, that butter was stressful. I mean, oatmeal baths common. And so that watching the oatmeal on the feed thing, I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
good,
fine. And like the
sweet.
milk baths,
Milk
like people
bath
do it
is
on Instagram to be trendy like
trendy
2 years ago.
vibes. It's
And it's
mostly
good
just for
for like
pregnant
eczema and
ladies.
shit.
Pregnant ladies use it now for their pregnant photos.
No, milk baths are supposed to be good for like rashes and eczema and dry
Yeah.
skin, but it's not efficient because who has that much fucking
Whenever
milk?
when you had chicken pox as a kid, taking a milk bath, milk and oatmeal bath.
Never had chicken pox. I never had the
But
pox.
wow, good job.
No, not good job. Something's gonna be fucking scared as shit when I'm older. Um,
Good point.
so if you Google butter massage Dutch Pennsylvania, the only things that come up that are not bachelor related are Dutch Pennsylvania resorts that offer massages and then also like sell apple butter or like have apple like you cannot find butter massage in like quotations.
Yeah, so
So it's
this
not
was
like a
fake.
real thing.
Great, good. So that's what they did the fake massage times, whatever. But they were in it was fine. And then they made out in this like incense space and whatever. But I feel like I
It's something
don't
that, like it could have been romantic. It
yeah,
like
I
could
mean
have
I'm
been
sure it was
somewhat
for
fun.
them. I'm sure they enjoyed it. And they
Yeah.
were goofing around a lot, which I enjoyed. It was very Gemini Sagittarius where they're like playing around with like the food. And they're like, yeah, this is fun.
That was
Like
so
they were making it
fucking
fun for
smart
them,
though.
which I enjoyed.
Ugh.
Um I think that what she was talking about her family and stuff and like she was like my goal is always stay in love and all these things. It's just like generic, like I mean I don't know, generic, it's like we're learning about these people, but it's just very like it's the
I don't think
always
that
ending
I
with
don't know what
yeah.
we learned. It was the very basic I like that these were better questions than we usually see, but Michelle being like how would you like show love to your partner? Like essentially asking like
Oh
what is
yeah.
your love language? Like what are little things that you do to let your partner know you're thinking about them? Like that's like a cute conversation. Like that's
Yeah.
like a cute thing to ask, but if you ask me that, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head because if you like I'm not going to know if you're going to yeah, little things come from like little things. I don't know how to I'm probably going to cut this out cuz I'm like doing gibberish, but like you say you have a headache in the morning. The small thing is that Olivia brings you tea and Advil. You can't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? But I can't like make up that scenario in my head. We're like, well, if you had like a headache or something, like I'd take care of you. Like, of course you would. You know what I mean? Like it was like a weird posed, like I feel like a producer gave
What
her
she
that
really
question.
should have asked was what's your love language?
Exactly. Like it was like a very bizarre
Sir.
conversation. And it was almost like, I don't want to say hard to follow, but like hard to follow.
Yeah.
It's like you're saying
But
it so complicated, as I just did.
yeah, right. But whatever. Then they move on to the nighttime and Matt looks like Frozone dressed up.
You saw the picture.
Mm, I'm gonna make it a meme.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
It's really funny.
It is
Yeah,
incredible.
he's looking like Frozone in his little outfit, and obviously in a turtleneck because it's getting cold. Um, but this is when he talks to Michelle about his dad, and
I saw
whatever,
that.
we know what happens, and it's essentially so the same conversation every time, which is I felt like I had to, address this in my past to be able to deal with relationships in my future so I don't get hurt, so I don't cheat, so I don't this, whatever, all that stuff. Basically, so I'm not my dad.
Wait, I thought of another
What?
joke.
Give me, girl. Matt.
He's wearing so many turtlenecks. All of this right here is all the extra fabric that they cut off his pants.
Yeah. Yeah,
His
his legs
pants
are
are
too
so
long.
fucking short because they have to cut it off to make shift turtlenecks for him.
Everything about him is just very long, slim.
No, but remember that
Um,
his pants are short as fuck because there's no
I
fabric. How come
know,
they can't find fabric? They do find the fabric. They just put it in the wrong spot.
right? It's on his neck.
Yeah.
But Michelle was very sweet with her response to the dad. She was like, I still think you bring plenty to the table without like having this relationship with him or without having like that stable family growing up. She's like, even though I had the stable family,
But
it's like
also,
such a
listeners, don't forget you are not therapy for broken men. This is not Michelle's job to unpack. This is something that Matt should have seen a therapist about prior and now. This is not
literally.
something that he should be working through with these women.
I hope that's in therapy now.
I hope so too for many reasons.
Yeah,
But like
many.
just it's good to like talk to feel comfortable talking to your partner about this type of shit. But like at the same time, is it Michelle's job to tell him that he offers more even though his father did that? No, Matt should like know that. Matt should have. You can't love yourself. How in the hell are you gonna love somebody else, Matt?
I ain't gonna love nobody else. Yeah, right. Well,
But yeah,
anyway,
anyway.
since she responds nicely, she goes into her cute little spiel about telling him eventually that she loves him, and
The lead up was so good.
it really was. And I have like no quotes, so if
We
you
got
do, go
I
for
don't
it.
have quotes, but I remember I couldn't
It
take
was
quotes
really
because I was so
good. It was
excited.
really
I was
sweet. Like I was like super sweetly, like she was
I
really
was
great.
on the edge of my seat. And like so for the listeners, I joined
Cancer
Shannon
Mercury.
in her clubhouse last night.
Yeah,
Clubhouse
it
you were
was so
talking about last
fun.
episode. I was there. But we noticed during the clubhouse that all of us, all four of us were watching at like different not different speeds, but like I was like a solid 2 minutes ahead of everybody. Like
Yeah.
something would happen and I would have to be like completely silent. So I'm sitting there watching the lead up and like you guys are talking about what had just happened and I'm on the edge of my seat like is she going to do it? Is she going to do it? Oh my god, she's going to do it. And I couldn't like say anything or react
Yep.
because you guys hadn't seen it yet. But I really was like I was too engaged to take notes because I was just like so fucking excited
Yeah.
even though I know it's going to end up breaking her heart. I'm so sad because I know. Oh god.
It's upsetting. Part of me really does wonder like who Matt is gonna like date after all this, but we'll see.
I said it from the very beginning. It was what I said when we were introducing the women, even because Michelle was one of the women that we talked about. We didn't know that she was going to be showing up
Yep.
late. She was one of the original women. And I did say on that episode that I firmly believe that Matt's wife was within the group, but I did not think that he was going to pick her. And
Yeah,
I
you right.
didn't realize like how true I think that's going to be. Like I think that Michelle
The
could be,
intuition.
but I think that Michelle and Matt could be fucking great together. But I don't think he's going to pick her because I just don't.
If
And this
Michelle will take his ass
conversation,
back.
but this is a prime example. Like that conversation that they had where I just said, like you women are not therapy for broken men. Like I do not think that Matt would be or is ready for Michelle anyway. I
Yeah.
think that like if Matt was his most like fully realized version of himself, then him and Michelle would be fucking awesome. But I just don't think Matt's ready for her.
Yep, because I really
Timing's
love
not right.
I love their synastry. I
too.
love that they have this like opposing sun and moon with each other. They have this Gemini and I know that opposing often sounds bad and sometimes it isn't great in synastry, but with Gemini and Sagittarius particularly, those two signs get each other. Like there is no like it's because they're both equally chaotic. They both love to learn things and do new things and do talk to people and go out and about. And they're the kinds of people who aren't going to like. Michelle is obviously stressed that the women are going on dates with him, but she was the calmest and the coolest of all of them. And Bree, pretty calm and cool too, but less so. I think it's because Bree knew she was probably going to go home at this point. But Rachel
I think Brie was just more
Rachel was
like
melting down,
annoyed.
obviously, like
I think
because
Brie was more annoyed at Rachel than she was upset about the women. Like I think she was like, "Are
yeah,
you kidding me?
yeah, exactly. Because it's like hold it together. Like if you're gonna make it to this point,
Get your shit together for real."
hold it together. Like don't
Agreed.
when so again when Michelle came back from her date with Matt, they fucking she walks in and she obviously the women are like, how was your date? Because like they have to, because the producers told them to say it. And then Michelle's like, oh yeah, we had like a milk bath. It was so nice. It was so great to spend time together, blah, blah, blah. And that's when fucking Rachel is just like, she starts like wiping like with the single finger, you know, when you try to like keep, yeah,
No, it
with,
was
oh,
this.
and then the edges of her wrist and her hands. That's just like, I'm
Always
not,
a blot,
it's
never a wipe.
fine. Yeah, always a blot. And it was
Yeah.
just like, girl, like I get it. I understand when I'm a Pisces moon too, Rachel. I understand when you can't hold back the tears, but get it together. Like in this situation, go cry about it to your interviewer. Go cry about it in 5 seconds. Hold it
Like
in.
I
He was doing that shit for TV.
so I don't I'm coming from an incredible like this is not unbiased obviously because I don't fucking like Rachel for obvious reasons.
Right.
But even if I didn't, like if all that shit hadn't happened and she had been not only like a model player, but a model citizen and just like a gem, you know, and
Yeah.
then she started behaving this way, I would be
You're
equally
like, Rachel, what
annoyed
the fuck?
because it literally is, we say all the time, like, you know what you signed up for, like, what do you think this is? Um, if you, yeah, like, Val said in the clubhouse last night, like if you are not someone who would be okay, like if you can't even think right now about your partner going and hooking up with someone else, like someone fictional in your brain, if that like sends you reeling, this is not the fucking show for you. Because those
And
are like
yet,
real
this is all the people who get on the show
because they don't, and that's how you
because they
know that
don't
this is about
know.
social media and not about
Yep.
relationships because like no one fucking cares. They don't care until it's like too late, like they're already in too deep and deeper than they realized they would get, but
Yep.
like no one would willingly sign up to be not just heartbroken but like heartbroken and traumatized. Like, are
Yep.
you well? Are you okay?
Right. God. Well, anyway, Rachel's
Anyway,
being a little bitch. And I say
just
little
the fact
bitch and
that
like
she had the
just a
balls,
little whiny, and
dude.
it just starts with the like it just starts with her whole spiral of the episode down of like, oh my god, what if like I just I need to be reassured, all that stuff.
I just the
So
balls that she had to like, so Michelle's coming back from her date. Michelle's like trying to ride the high of her great night. Bree's trying to get excited about her upcoming date. And then you have Debbie Downer fucking Rachel, who's has the audacity to vent her feelings to these women who are just like they're in the same exact position as you.
yep,
So who are you talking
yep,
to?
yep. But I will say that Rachel played a common move, which at this point, which is kind of a like to telling Matt in a like, I just need to know like this is so serious for me and I'm so sad when you're with other women and I need to know that I'm not gonna get hurt. All this stuff, it's like basically being like, I will say, it's like basically just looking at him like, I will say yes. Like pick me. Whereas all the other women are obviously saying like, I love you, I'm in this 100%, all these things, but she's just the way that she comes from, like it's just like, I am not gonna be okay if you don't pick me. It's just,
Which
it really
is,
settles into
yeah.
the lead's head, especially
And
the
I just
men.
can't wait to talk about how, once again, like even if
I'm
all
ready
the
for this
other
show to be
business
done.
hadn't same, even if all the other business with Rachel hadn't happened and she had been like anyone else in this franchise, this behavior is just like so high school manipulation that
Oh,
it
she's
is
so high school to me. She really is.
cringy.
I mean,
It makes
all
me so uncomfortable
Libras,
to watch.
so many Libra types like her do scream high school, like still. Like it's just like, okay, I obviously can tell you peaked in the popular girl era. Like that shit was made for the Libra fat like
Read.
types.
A read.
You know,
An
like,
accurate read, but a read.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like she can't leave that idea, or at least in this point of the
That like
show. Right
energy,
now
like that
she's in this
mentality.
different changing space or whatever. But while she was filming the show, you know, that stuff was still in her mind of like, well, if I get these little tears out right now, it'll really show them that like annoying.
Like if I see you
Whatever.
sad, usually that works and people feel bad for me when I see you
Yeah.
sad. Yeah.
But whatever. We'll talk about her more later. Bree's next. And it's camping, I guess, or whatever. At least the first half is camping. It's like they camp but not camp. Like it's a
So
weird
this is what
thing
I
that they.
think happened. When I think that we know the producers for the show is just fucking evil, right? And they love
Yes.
to watch the world burn. When we were doing the Meet the Women, we talked about the fact that Bree's whole thing was like she wants to live in Hawaii and she wants to like be chill and like she loves being outside and she loves hiking. And I genuinely think that she made the mistake because that was on her ABC profile. It was like on her
Mm-hmm.
ABC bio. So she obviously told somebody that works with the show that like I love being outside. Like that's my favorite place to be. Like hiking's great. And I guarantee the producers were like, all right, fuck you, bitch.
Bet
Like bet. Like, oh, you like being outside? Okay. Just because like they like
you
to
can camp.
right. So I think that
Yeah,
they
I'm
were like
surprised they didn't make
being
them
jokey
actually
about it.
camp at night. Like,
I
also a glamping thing would have been cute. Just
I
saying,
think I would my
would have been
ideal
cute.
date.
Would
I
have been
would love
cute,
that.
right?
Camping's not even that bad. That tent was just small as fuck. Like I don't even know why they tried to make it seem even more dramatic by giving them like a single person, like child
Literally
size
such an
fucking
itty bitty
tent.
tent. But
Matt's legs didn't even fit in that shit. It was
yeah,
crazy.
he's so tall. Oh my god. And but funny, she like fits perfectly fine. She's itty bitty. But what is funny though is that so even though whatever she has said all that stuff, which yeah, Sagittarius stellium, she's literally like, yeah, I love to like be outside and be in the woods, or go hiking and be chill and live in Hawaii.
Nature.
That's yeah, it's like I love nature. Also, so Bree, before I go on with Bree, Bachelor horoscopes, shout out. Apparently, Bachelor horoscopes DM'd Bree's mother and got Bree's birth time. And
Amazing.
Bree
Brilliant.
is officially
Good
a
job, guys.
Capricorn, right?
Thank you.
Bree is officially a Capricorn rising. And I know.
Bitch.
So what's interesting about that is all of her Sagittarius placements, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, all fall in the 12th house. And but that's what after that. But that also means her ruling planet is Saturn. And I looked it up. Her Saturn is in fucking Pisces, which is literally exactly her vibe. She's just like, all right, yeah, like let's just go chill. Let's do this. Let's do that. Yeah, oh my God. Like
Um,
she's very like just
even in her exit, which I can't wait to talk about.
yeah, right?
Unbothered. Bothered
So
but unbothered.
it's fascinating to watch her, but whenever he goes, so have you spent much time in the woods? She goes, yeah, this makes me think Capricorn rising, where she's like, yeah, pretty much this entire time.
Like, where have
Like,
you been,
yeah, like
Matt?
I've been in Nemacolin on all these dates
You know that
out in the
stupid mansion you
woods.
have up there? We don't get that.
Like, what do you think I've been doing? Yeah, I'm in the woods a bunch. Did you miss the hide and seek date on the blooper reel? Come on, buddy. But anyway, so then
That
they
is funny. I
start
forgot about
pitching
that
the
date.
tent, and I will roast myself here. When
This was so funny. I'm
it was
sorry.
very
It was
funny.
cute. It was funny.
Uh okay, and I'll admit it, I'm pretty gullible and not gullible. Like I can how about this? I'm not gullible in the general sense, but I am someone who like takes what people say at face value. Like I don't generally
You don't
think that
even
most
doubt people. You
yeah,
don't think that they'll
like
be lying
I
to
don't
you.
necessarily sit there and you know
She's not
play around.
scrutinizing
But
whatever you're saying.
when she was like, have you ever pitched a tent or what? Or she goes, have you ever made pitch a tent before? And he goes, yeah, I pitched a tent, but that was after he said he had not been camping. So me, I'm like, oh yeah, haha, pitched a tent, fucking tailgates and music festivals. But then everybody else in the clubhouse was like, no, Shannon, he's talking about a boner.
He's talking about his dick getting hard.
And I was like, because then I realized the rest of the 10 jokes, all of everything was talking about boners. I blame the fact that I haven't seen / spoken to a human man in like so long.
That's what
Like
yeah.
I'm never around men anymore.
Like
Like
when would have been the last time that anyone even used the word boner talking about an actual literal boner?
and also like the pun pitched a tent. Like I just haven't thought about it since high school.
It's
Like while we're on
a
that subject.
very outdated, yeah, it's a very like outdated phrase. Like that's like when you're
Right.
in middle school and like you're in gym and they're like, look, you pitched the
Oh,
tent.
look
Like
who's
it's
pitched a tent
yeah,
during
like
nip
that's not
time.
a thing
Yeah.
I would expect, especially because I feel like maybe it's just me, but the adult males that I know just say like my dick got hard, or like I'm hard right
Yeah,
now.
like
Like I don't know what to say.
yeah, I'm
I'm
hard
pitching
or
a
whatever.
tent.
So that was that, and they made a lot of dick jokes, and then they made out
Oh,
their
God.
little tiny tent. Um,
Which I just imagine was Matt in like the fetal position
yeah, pretty
and
much.
Bree like spooning him or something.
And then Brie talks to him about how she's like, I didn't expect it to be so hard watching Michelle walk in, which is, again, that's how you're supposed to play the jealousy thing. You're not supposed to get jealous of part of the other women. You're supposed to talk about it to Matt to make it seem like you're so for TRR. And then, oh, you're so cute. No, I love it. Take a selfie. But then there's she goes, there are really strong feelings involved and they're harder to compartmentalize, which is, oh God, I just think her Sagittarius 12th house stuff makes a lot of sense now too, because it's very much like she kind of has hidden her own personality from us. And I don't necessarily believe that I definitely believe editing for sure, always, but she is so fucking low key. And I think it's because her true, like what she really feels about herself and almost her entire identity and her entire chart is in the 12th house. Like it's a lot of shit that's gone down. But they talk about her family crying, like they just talk about her family and stuff, and Matt's like wants to hang out with her. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
Nighttime
it's very, you can
happens.
tell in this moment, like if we didn't already know it based on what happened last week, this date was a very clear indicator that if Serena had not left, Brie most definitely would not have been there. And I think that Brie
Yep.
got the sense that she was there by default.
I
And
now
that
firmly
kind
believe
of,
that it would have been final two, Serena and Rachael,
okay.
if it were down to this point. Maybe. I don't know. He definitely wanted to fuck Serena
I
based on the
I
bloopers.
think it would have been Serena and Michelle, but there's like far too many levels to why I think that. If Serena had
Yeah.
stayed, it would have been like a domino effect that affected everything else.
Fair. Wow.
And I
An
don't
alternate
think
reality I could
so.
get behind.
Yeah, that's a whole other,
Well,
that's a theory.
anyway, we could dream. But then we have nighttime and Brie, she looked so good in this brown dress, and I was living for her Capricorn rising in this moment, giving us these earth tones. She's
That
really rocks the earth tones always.
dude, so this is, I don't know if this is weird or not. Tell me if this is weird and I'll happily cut it out. But Brie looks like every female sim I've ever made.
This does not sound weird at all, and
Brie
I'm
is like in my mind, Brie is like the most
100%.
beautiful woman. Like when I look at Brie, I'm like, you are actually perfect.
I 100% agree with you because I am with you. She does also look like every sim I would have ever made.
And like she's just
Down
like
to the lime
so
green,
doll
her
like and
lime
like
green plum bob
symmetrical.
dress.
I'm saying like, yeah, like I just Brie when I think that every time I see her on the screen, I'm like, I literally like, even just like like everything about her I find to be just like so spectacularly beautiful that I'm like,
Gorgeous.
you are perfect.
But everything
That's
she
you.
looks so good in this episode. She looked amazing in every scene. In the rose ceremony, I loved her high bun and her like choker neckline. She looked so fucking good.
She
She looked like not a supervillain in a bad way, but like, like when the women are,
she's the femme
when
fatale for sure.
yes, like bad
Like
at, like someone, she
like the
like she could
bad
whip a knife out of her bun kind of thing. Like,
she's like the bad guy's sidekick that ends up falling in love with the hero who's like
yes.
the bad presence, but like,
She's
oh,
she's like
oh my god, no, like
intimidating.
the
She's
fucking
so, we're
Jessica
describing a
Rabbit
Capricorn
line.
rising.
No, but like
By the
it's like
way.
the Jessica Rabbit moment where she's like, I'm not bad, I'm just drawn this way. Like that's Brie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, fun fact, I was named after Jessica Rabbit.
Oh my God.
Very specifically the character.
That's really funny. I love that. That's so Leo too. And Libra Mars, love that for you.
My
But
parents knew.
anyway, so Matt and her are super goofy. Matt talks about his mom, and then Brie ends up like complimenting her or whatever, and then she asks about the engagement, how he feels about it, and then this is when he copy pastes his dad conversation and whatever. And then she's just like, wow, yay, that conversation was pretty intense for you. We both have estranged parents, that kind of thing. She reads the card about the date. They go into their suite and make out, and
I did like that suite. I want to live there. That's how I would
yeah,
decorate my ideal
I
bedroom.
liked Michelle's balcony moment. Their Romeo and Juliet exit that we forgot to mention, which I will meme. Yeah.
It
Really great.
helped that he did it with every woman, because even that couldn't have been a one-off. He needed
Yep.
to replicate the date down to the letter to
Yep.
every woman.
It
With every
was
woman.
it was really he was yeah. So and then we get Rachel's date, and I again back to, had I known nothing about Rachel and her life and her racism and all that shit prior to this, I would have still been so fucking annoyed, because the way she walks up to that date, I'm like, bitch,
Do you want
what
to
the
see?
fuck?
Can I do it for you?
Do it. Yes, do it. Do it. Don't knock your shit over though. Okay, here we go. Everybody should watch the YouTube to watch Rachel do not Rachel. Watch
Hey,
Jess do Rachel's
Don't ever
walk in.
disrespect me like that again.
I won't. I'm so sorry. No, there was not enough. Oh, but she was looking.
Pockets.
She was also looking. She was doing this too much.
I don't have a long enough walk to
She
really
was
replicate
looking
it.
down.
But she would like occasionally look up at him and give him like a
Yeah.
little smirk, like, I see you, and then like back down to the side again. Like, I just don't want to be here.
And
But,
she was
like,
just
hey.
like, ugh. And she was fucking pouting, like, and it was just like Matt. You could almost tell he was like watching her, like, are you gonna run to? You gonna run to me? No, I'm not gonna pick you up to hug you. Oh,
Are you excited? Are you not? Like, what's
shit,
you doing?
okay.
What's
Like,
the
it
vibe?
was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And she was just like, hi, whatever, hi. Like, she was just like
Distraught. And
pout,
I don't know why. Why were
pout,
you so fucking upset, Rachel?
pouty,
bitch.
baby. But there was like no music. Like, the silence was deafening. Like, you could hear like wind cracking and like the trees and shit, because
Because
it was
as if her
dead silent.
sour ass expression wasn't enough, they could not let us get. There was no room for confusion, no room
No
for
music,
misunderstanding.
nothing.
Guys, Rachel is unhappy.
Yep.
Rachel's not.
And
here
she's a happy guys. And they go to the ceramics day, and it's so awkward. They don't even like, it was supposed to be their sexy like moment to be all covered in the clay, like all those movie scenes or whatever. But
Oh, it's the one movie scene from Ghost, and it's the only scene
yes.
that anyone remembers from that fucking movie because it's so played out in pop culture that that was the ad for Peter's season.
Oh, that's right. Oh my god, yeah.
That was literally the ad
Wow.
for Peter's season.
I forgot.
And yeah, it was
Yeah, with
so-
the women over. Oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah,
Couldn't
so we're doing that ceramics day, and it
parade
was fucking weird. It was
thing ever.
boring.
Well,
And
what's
then
annoying about it is the fact that is when Rachel sits there and decides like, so we need to talk. And it's just, it is very, once again, like, it is so fucking high school. This is how
Well,
I would have
it's-
behaved with my boyfriend when I was a freshman in high school.
yeah,
For real,
like I was gonna
for
say, like,
real.
this is exactly my high school self of being like, I have this problem I'm gonna talk to him about, but like I'm just gonna sit there and pout, and maybe he'll say it first.
Are you okay? I'm fine. Okay.
Are you
Are
okay?
you sure you're okay? I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Fine.
My
Don't ask
God,
again.
I'm
Don't ask
fine.
again.
Yeah.
Stop.
She's just, and then so
Aren't you
they
gonna
go
ask me
and
if I'm
like,
fine? Fuck.
yeah, like,
Oh my god.
why didn't you like know I wasn't okay? You didn't read my mind.
Well, literally though.
So they talk, and she's just like, it's been tough, and I do want you to look in every other relationship, but she essentially ultimatums him and is like, if you don't see this going to the end, then I can't handle losing you. Like,
guys, if you didn't know
basically
that
she was
a
like,
pick
cut me
bitch
off
right
now if I'm not your, yeah.
If you didn't know she was a pick me bitch before by the way that she was behaving, you know for sure she's a pick me bitch now.
She's such a
Because that's like,
bitch.
but it's like totally fine. Like if you don't want to be with me, I totally get it. I just want to know, but like I really
just
hope
like,
you
I
do
need
want
to
be
know
with me.
right now, because like
Because
if I
I'll
don't
be
know,
devastated.
I mean, what she is doing is now because she got the rose, she's gonna believe that she's
She's special.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like her watching this back, she must feel so fucking foolish.
I hope she does, honestly. But
me too.
then
want her to
he
suffer a little bit,
starts
though.
kind of talking around all that, and eventually says like, I'm falling in love with you, and I want you to I'm here for you, whatever. I'm here for you to stay for this. And so she immediately, it's like the second he says it, she goes, oh man, I love you. She like immediately throws out the I love you. Like, it was like that classic, like, you said exactly what I needed you to say. You told me that you're falling in love. Like, I got that. I manipulated this out of you. So now I get that answer, what I wanted, and now I will give you what you want, aka I love you.
Anyone who's ever been truly upset knows that even when the problem has resolved itself, you are still in that like okay, like we have to like build it back up. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like anyone who gets like any real ass fight you've ever had with your partner, even when the fight is resolved, you don't immediately go like, I'm so happy that's over, and then you kiss and make up. Like that's not typically how people
Exactly. She
work.
immediately was like, I love you. Let's kiss. They make
Yeah,
out in the clay. He
that
carries
was
her away.
very. I didn't
She's
like that.
completely 100% happier at her nighttime date. Like she walks in
Yeah.
like, Chipper, hello, my man. And so, but what's interesting, so back to this manipulation moment, I am pretty convinced, and we talked about this in our clubhouse, but I want to reiterate to you and now to our followers, to our listeners. I am pretty fucking sure that Rachael is a Cancer rising. And because I really think that she is likely ruled by her Pisces moon, because everything she does is very emotionally reactive. Everything she does takes that emotion to it. Oh, I have to manipulate this situation to be better for myself. And I'm using tears, I'm using feelings, I'm using all of that to get what I need. And also she has the Cancer rising face, which is just like this like soft, but also she has the cheeks.
She's
She
a pouty
has that
baby.
little,
A
yeah, she
little.
looks
She's
like a
a
fucking baby
pouty
face,
baby.
right? And also because the if she so let's see, so she's a Capricorn Jupiter, so if she's a Cancer rising, that Jupiter would be in the seventh house. That being said, obviously being on a relationship show, the seventh house placements on this show are common, right? But the biggest one I thought would be interesting is this she would have an Aries midheaven. And if that's the case, she could have Saturn on the midheaven. And whew, uh she could have Saturn on the midheaven. And literally Saturn is like a personal reckoning of responsibility. And she is literally in the public eye having to unlearn these systemic things and having to unlearn her own things, having to take responsibility for her own shit in the public.
Yes.
And what's interesting too is since the midheaven MC is opposite automatically the IC, it's like the IC is that personal, private home culture space. So it's like Saturn opposite her IC. If she has that, that's very much like her response, taking responsibility is going to oppose what she learned in her home life, aka racism and shit like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think she's Cancer rising 100%. Plus she just looks like she's like has the Pisces eyes so deeply, like the under eye not bags, but like I mean she does have under eye bags, but it's
I know
like
what you mean. Like the
the
puffy cheeks right here.
yeah. So anyway, very Pisces moon of me because look, I'm the same way. Anyway, that being said, but that would also make sense for her the way that she manipulated Matt so quick, and she just was like, oh, "Love you," and he was like, "Love you too," but not really. I'm falling. He said he's the only. Miso is screaming. But anyway, they go to their nighttime. She talks about. She's like, "Are you worried about getting hurt?" And then copy paste dad conversation again to Rachael, and she's like, basically like, "Wow, I'm glad you had that closure with him, or whatever." I don't
And I'm
remember.
glad you felt comfortable telling me about it and nobody
There you
else.
go. Yeah, which Pisces moon. I'm so glad you felt comfortable opening up to me about that very emotional moment for you. Like
Yep. You and two
water
other people.
signs.
And some
Plus also
producers.
Libra, Pisces, and Cancer talk about passiveness, and just being the most passive person, and also just being the classic like I want to get married, I'm ready to be a mom, I'm ready to be engaged, I'm ready to have this family life, and
I
like she's just to
can't fucking
uphold
relate.
this.
I
No,
wish I could understand what that felt like. I cannot. The idea of having
Cancer risings
children
really do
scares the
find that
shit out of
identity in
me.
their family. It's stressful.
Having to yeah, I don't get that. I don't maybe it's just because I haven't felt it, but like I don't know. I can't even imagine what that feeling would feel like. Like I'm ready to do
Right.
this. Like
But
can't
whatever.
do
Now
it.
we get the rose ceremony. Short little blip of a blip. They all looked so
Um
good.
yes, and this was my second attempt at trying to get Reality Steve to block me because he tried to make this stupid fucking joke about how like and then all three women are in black. Like what is it? The funeral like blah, 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 whatever. I'm like, well, first of all, only one of them was in black. One was red and one was green. So
Pay
fuck you,
attention,
man. I
men.
hate Reality
This is what
Steve so
happens
much.
when men watch the show.
He sucks. I hate reality Steve.
Because
He's such a garbage piece of trash.
Michelle's dress was a very dark forest green, and it was like an emeraldy, like velvet kind of thing. So it only showed green in the light, right?
Yep.
And then
Was not
Brie was
moving.
in black. And then Rachel was the one that had the like dark, very dark red and this very low cut back, which I thought looked good. Also, fun fact, Libra rules the back.
I hate that I like some of her. I think that most of her style is shit. I think it's very
I
basic, but like
agree.
there are
She's
some
hit or miss.
dresses that are pretty sick. I gotta give it to her.
I really hope that she looks good on the finale. She better have a good finale dress
I hope she
for her
doesn't.
fantasy moment proposal, right?
I hope she has a terrible dress choice.
Well, I mean, I hope she has a terrible dress, right? But I'm just saying, like, in theory of like, she better
In a
have been
perfect
saving
world,
the
she'd be
best
styled
dress,
well.
but like, she better have been saving the best looks for last, right?
Imagine she
Well, I
comes
guess
out in
that they
like
get
top
styled. I
part.
forget you're right. They get styled for the last episode.
Yeah, I think the last couple. I think when it gets down to like
Yeah.
only a couple women.
Well, they looked good.
I agree.
Brie, though, was like I said, Brie looked like the femme fatale who was ready to pull a knife out of her bun and just
She
like,
was a Bond girl.
yeah,
Brie looked like a Bond girl.
so gorgeous. Well, Matt is in this very weird, chaotic outfit. It was like a plaid, but like old school old man plaid, not the true recent plaid. It was like plaid and then a paisley tie, but it was like greenish purple vibes. It was like brown
This
too.
was
There was a
yeah.
lot of weird like I'm here for mixing patterns. I am, but that was not. It was like every old man pattern thrown at once onto him.
It gives me, you know how like Travis Scott is in his like everything muted brown phase? That's the
Yeah,
vibe I got from his outfit. It was like a
yeah.
whole lot of like a very boring color palette. And then and this is of no fault to Matt's, but like the dark there was no contrast because like where they were standing, like just the environment that they were in was so fucking dark that it really didn't do anybody's outfit any favors except for
Yeah,
Brie, who was like obviously black and like
yeah.
sleek and chic always. But like just they were not dressed for I don't know if it's like the fucking backdrop or the lighting scenario or whatever,
It
but
was
like
dark as shit in there.
someone missed a mark
It was
here.
the lighting, and the lighting needed to be
Yeah,
better, slightly better. I understand making it dark and moody and dramatic, but like, come on.
but you get what I'm saying. Those artistic
Um,
eyes.
but then we have the rose ceremony, and Michelle is first and Rachel is last, and Brie goes home. And the breakup was really sad, honestly. But Brie is a gorgeous crier. The tears fell from her just like perfectly, like straight down. Like it
How
was
even?
it, not the weird down the side here on the side of your face, not over your nose, over your mouth. It was like the perfect tears that go only right here.
I think that she kind of knew that
Yeah.
her time was coming to an end. So she was
Her
clearly sad, but like
and
wasn't
her
sobbing.
speech, like the last thing she was saying to Matt, were very like composed. Cap rising, gotta love it. But she just says, you know, what is it? She goes, I know I'm looking for such Jessica. She says I obviously gave up a lot to be here, and I feel bad. She goes, I feel bad about just not being able to see you again. She goes, you're going to be moving on to something else, and I think that's what makes it harder. Uh, sad.
Like very level-headed, very like
Yeah,
this will be best for both of us in the long
yeah.
run, no matter how much it hurts now. And just
But
very composed.
yeah, and then she cries in her limo exit and does a generic like I don't have notes on what she said in the limo, but
Me
yeah.
neither.
But
I was excited
anyway,
about her
she's
mom's Instagram post.
her mom. Yes, please explain it.
So guys, Bree's mom posted an ode to Bree. Where did I send it? On in text or on Instagram?
I think it was
Text, right? Yeah. Yep. Got it right here. So Bree's mom posted a picture to like in honor of Bree last night saying, Baby, someone who doesn't choose you all the time, every time is not your person. You are deserving of the most beautiful love stories. So what is meant for you will find you. I applaud your courage, maturity, and especially your vulnerability. You are yourself throughout the process, and that, my love, is enough. You are always enough. I know that love will find you because you encompass love. And now you're that much closer to it. But in the meantime, girl, you better get your job back. P.S. Now we can burn the bunny, which what was the cherry.
that's like
That
such
huge
such
ass
a
stuffed
such a
fucking
good mom.
bunny that he brought to their hometowns where everyone I remember people on Twitter being like in the previews like, why the fuck is he carrying a bunny so big? Because we didn't know that it was for the little sister. But
Yeah.
Bree's
but
mom's the
amazing.
people's champion. Bree's
Bree's
mom is
mom
the
is a real one. Real
yeah,
one.
love her.
Well,
Love her.
well, the preview looks really fucking dramatic, and I don't care. We'll wait and see.
She said, and I mean, it is what it is.
It
I
is
mean, we
what it
have our
is.
predictions. We talked a little bit last night about what we think is happening, but there are just too many possibilities and not enough information for us to even. Sorry, I know you can see what I'm doing over here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
hell yeah.
Big heavy mess. All right, so week 9 is a wash because we got the women tell all, and that gave us nothing about Matt whatsoever.
Yeah,
But
literally.
here we are in week 10, and I'm gonna rate mine first. That way, you know I'm not cheating.
Oh, go tell me.
Well, it actually comes down to something that you said last night. So, in an effort to avoid butchering it, I have completed writing my guess, but I would like you to guess. I would like you to share your thoughts on what you think his things are. I don't want
Oh,
to like in case it's the same. I don't want to butcher.
I think okay, so do you think he's a possibly a Gemini rising with the Virgo fourth house? Yeah. Yeah.
I love when we do these little magic tricks. This is so fun.
Magic. It really was. Well, it's because it's funny because I did mention multiple like rising sign options. So I had to think about the ones that I was thinking of and like which one you might have landed on. So okay, my thought on why I considered Gemini rising was because it would put the Virgo IC. So we were talking about the IC with Rachael and how usually it's around the fourth house, which is your home and your family. But no matter what, the IC is like the bottom of your chart, and it's like who you really are underneath all the other stuff and like what you've learned from and where you came from essentially. And so if Matt has a Virgo IC, he would have his dad would fall in that Virgo fourth house. And typically Virgo IC, like it's very common for us, and I say us because me and Jess are that, to have like pretty like critical families and like conversations like this that we watched with Matt and his dad. Obviously, there's like a lot of levels to it, but conversations like that happen a lot to people with a Virgo IC because everything in your like family life is up for critique, and it gets very very like pressurized, like it's just there's a lot of pressure put on the person who's got the Virgo IC. So I think with Matt it possibly could be that, and that would be put all his Sagittarius stuff in the 7th house, which would like make sense to actually maybe he does want a relationship, right? But then I'm just like, he doesn't like talk enough in my Gemini rising mind, you know? It's like the one thing. But I guess Gemini risings are also great listeners. Not always, they don't always have to be good talkers.
But
Show me, tell me.
So you say that you don't think he talks enough. I think it was so the way that you explained this in last night when we were talking about it, or when you were talking about it and I was listening, it made me think of the conversation with him and his dad and how the Matt that we saw during that conversation was a totally different Matt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it makes you think that like if you kind of just let Matt talk without the inhibitions, like if he was just like completely uninhibited, you know, and just like fucking talking, I think that he would say more and
Actually,
say, you know, like because with
yeah, now I'm thinking about his TikToks. How quickly he goes, and on the charcuterie board, I have
right. I think
da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
he's like, I kind of think that he's like funny and kind of like us in that regard, but is trying so hard because it also circles back to the fact that I tweeted this last night. I said this last night. I think that somebody along the lines, whether it was Tyler Cameron, Chris Harrison, Hannah Brown, whoever, someone involved with the franchise was giving him advice because this is totally new to him. He's never been on the show before. He has no idea what to expect from any angle at all. I think that someone gave him really, really terrible advice to just like kind of play it vague, you know, with the women and like, don't I love to cite Ben Higgins. Like, don't be like Ben Higgins. Like, don't promise these women too much and then
Yeah.
disappoint them. That he's
Well, his
being
mom
like,
basically, yeah. His mom
and then he's
basically did
being,
that.
yeah, I think he's being like intentionally, I don't want to say guarded, and I kind of mean private, but you get what I'm saying? Like, he's not being as
Yeah.
forthcoming because I think he's trying to be like really diplomatic about it. And not share too much in an effort to like not blindside somebody. But if he like just kind of like shed that, if he like shook all that off and was actually truly genuinely himself, I feel like we would see more of like the from his like TikTok dances,
Yeah.
you know?
And then I think back to, so, okay, let me think about the rest of Matt's chart in context. So
Yeah.
he would have Capricorn, Neptune, and Uranus like us in the 8th house. And then he would have Pluto in the 6th, and then, so that's whatever. But his Saturn would be in the 9th, like we both have Saturn Aquarius in the 9th house. And then he would have Virgo Jupiter in the 4th, which I don't know. It's funny because Virgo Jupiter usually points to big family. Maybe he'll have a big family if this is the case. If he has a
He does
Gemini,
want a bunch of kids kicking him off his bike
yeah,
and shit.
that's true. Um, Jupiter,
And he says
Virgo,
that he
daddy
gravitates towards big
issues.
family. So I could see him wanting to have a big
Oh,
family to replace the family that he had.
yeah, yeah. I also really could see him being ruled by his Sag Mercury. Such a fucking clown.
James, I want to get to know you, please.
I really do. And then, but what I actually think about is the Pisces midheaven for me would be like, what? But then I think about it, and a Pisces midheaven ruled by a Virgo Jupiter would very much put this like complex character in front of us that he doesn't really understand either, because Jupiter is in detriment in Virgo. Jupiter doesn't like to have to like be very detailed in the way it learns, and that's what Virgo wants. So Jupiter is trying to like have fun and do this party stuff,
Yeah.
but Virgo's trying to be like, hey, don't do that. Let's get our shit together. And honestly, Matt, wow, did we figure it out? Is he a Gemini rising? Because I'm at this point though, I am pretty convinced he is a mutable rising, which would be Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, but I don't think he's Pisces rising. So that's like nix that. But I could see at this point, I'm pretty much arguing between those three in my head. I really do think I could still see Libra. Oh my God, he has Venus in the 5th fucking house. If he had, oh my God, I think he really could be a Gemini. A Venus in the 5th house is literally like casual dating. Venus in the 5th, Venus is a joy in the 5th. Basically, Venus loves to be in the 5th house, no matter the sign.
Yeah.
Because the 5th house rules things that Venus likes, which is like pleasure, romance dating, more like casual dating, not like like our like partners. That's the 7th house, but the casual dating space that Matt was basically living in prior to this.
Like his whole life.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So wow. All right. Gemini rising, I'm with you. Just to spice it up, I'm gonna say Sag rising because I really could see the Virgo stuff.
So
I could
wait, Sag
easily,
Moon and Sag Rising? Or are
yep,
you on Scorpio? Okay.
still on the same Sag
All
moon
right.
and Sag rising.
Okay.
Because at this point, I think that I could also see Virgo being on his midheaven and having that perfectionism put onto himself publicly. Also, if that was the case, 10th house does also have something to do with the father often, so it would make sense to have the father fall in the 10th house. But it's argued, astrologers have this argument a lot whether or not the 4th or the 10th house is like mother or father, and I think that both can apply to either, because traditionally the 4th house is the mother because it's your nurture space, and the 10th house is the father because it's like your dad is like the one who leaves the house and it also teaches you how to be the public, like how to leave out in public, right? That's in like the
Right.
very traditional sense of mother father, but it can be very much flipped too. And it's funny because in my chart it is flipped, like my dad's rising sign falls on my Virgo IC, and then my mom, like my moon falls in my 10th house, and moon signs usually represent mothers. But anyway, all right, Sag rising and Gemini rising, I could easily see both. Gemini rising, that makes sense.
I'm trying to no, you're fine. I've started trying to look at this and like we obviously knew this from the beginning. I also have developed a stutter this week, apparently. But we've
Mars is
known
in
this.
Gemini right now, so Mars is in our first house. Have you been typoing like crazy? Like the words you say are just
Yeah.
like yeah. No, that's Mars and Gemini. You could blame that.
Heard. Okay. Yes, chef. I
Great.
yeah, good to know. I've in the recent weeks with everything that's been going on outside of the show, like outside of the season, but still within Bachelor Nation, um, it's kind of very particularly the women and how the women are reacting off of the show. It's been giving me this like new kind of perspective or like a filter, I guess I should say, when I'm trying to guess Matt's shit because like we have known this whole time that we don't really know him. They have not shown us anything. So I'm trying to like fuck what the show is showing me and I'm trying to like look at it through
Mm,
the filter of like what Matt is showing us of
yeah.
like what he wants us to see of him on like his
Right.
Instagram and like his TikTok and like this yeah, cuz
The
I'm trying to see like
goofier.
who
Yeah.
are you, Matt James, cuz the show is not
Tell
giving me an
us.
accurate representation. I'm putting this on our story right now in hopes that he will. I
Tell
hate them.
us.
What
But
did she just post on her story? Dumb bitch.
ooh,
I'm just like, can you not? Like, you weren't being cute and sad. Like, you were being manipulative twat. Can you not?
honestly. Tag his mom too. Fuck it. Why not?
I'm trying to get a good picture without like showing my janky setup.
Oh, right.
But anyway, that was the episode, ma'am.
There was.
That was
I
fucking
mean,
it.
that what is kind of nice is it feels like we don't have to talk as much about what goes down. These dates are just very whatever, very chill. But
Which is disappointing
yeah,
in the sense that like we want a good show,
I feel
y'all.
like next week we're gonna get it. You know.
I hope so. I hope so. Sorry, that was anything else?
Nah, man, that's it. Next week is gonna be crazy, I suppose. And I do we know if we're getting like is after the final rose next week too? Like, are we doing it all? Is it all wrapped next week? Do we get 2 weeks
Um,
left?
I my brain
They
is
didn't
telling me
really
two
tell
weeks, but I
us.
feel like I've
Yeah.
read something that said I think I was 99% sure that Emmanuel Acho tweeted something last night. So you hear him saying? I can't fucking talk.
Mm-hmm. I can.
That he tweeted something last night about next week. So, but I don't know if I made that up. I don't know if I had like a fever dream or something.
Oh shit. Well, I fucking hope so. I'm tired of waiting at this point. Like, we all know what's gonna happen. Like, let's just go. Let's fucking go. But anyway, thanks y'all for listening in, and go follow our Instagram at Do the Roses Align. Go on and watch us on YouTube where we are pretty cool, I think, to look at.
It's kind of
See.
fun. It's like saying about
Yeah,
the
it's like
vloggers
hanging out with
earlier.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
you haven't left your house in a while. You're quarantining as a good normal person, as a safe person should be. Come and hang out with us. I've
You
got
want
my
to be
like
friends?
go to astrology tapestry behind me. I've got my cat shows up a lot. Like come yeah.
Good
You got
visuals.
to miss. You got to see Jess's impersonation of her walking like Rachael. It's magic. Or when we dressed up like
My
Victoria that one
A1
time in our
acting
fur
skills.
coats. Yeah, we're great. But anyway, I'm looking forward to next week. Love y'all. Love you, Jess.
Bye.
Bye.